Hey YouTubers, this is the Rideshare Commando. You ever wondered why none of the other rideshare drivers look tired? It's because they don't drive full time. I do, and I average no less than 25 an hour. Usually it's around 30 to 35. Those are realistic numbers, no matter where you live, unless you live in Timbuktu where nobody takes rideshare at all. In that case, I want to evaluate a different career or a different city. But I drive no less than 40 hours a week, every single week. And I make a good chunk of change. But it's not without, it's a full-time job. If you're going to do this seriously, I mean, it's a part-time job, put it in for 20 hours a week. If it's full-time, expect 40, sometimes 50. Depends on what the bonuses are and how well you're doing. Last night, I did exceptionally well. But I was averaging about 40 to 50 bucks an hour. But I also was doing a driving method I call short skirting. Basically, outskirting is a better term for it. But I say short skirting because, friggin', America. But outskirting is you're taking outskirts of the major area. So for example, if this is Seattle and it's shaped like this, well, up north above that you've got Renton, you've got Everett, and then below that you have, you know, the SeaTac, and then you have Federal Way, and then of course you have Kent right beside that. So I would stick to the Kent area bordering Federal Way, or I would stick on the Everett area bordering, you know, the next town down. Because if you were to go in those areas, and I'm sorry, Renton is actually Seattle, Renton, way over here. I would stick to Renton because that's so far away from anything major that no matter what, you're going to get those little rides to Walmart and back, you know, with a little granny pushing a cart. But for the most part, you're going to be taking longer rides to get to where these people want to go. So SeaTac Airport, Seattle, they want to go to Everett. I'm still waiting for that Everett to Olympia. That would be a nice little ride. That ride alone is going to cost about 100 bucks, which would be kind of cool. But you don't get too many of those. Out here you get a lot of $20 and $30 rides for a half hour, so you can bring in about $60 in an hour and a half. That's very, very realistic. You just have to shoot on the outskirts, and you run the risk of, it's kind of like waiting on the airport. Most airport rides are really good, and they all come with a prime time or a boost. Okay? Driving the airport with LYFT is actually a better deal because you're always going to get a really, really nice prime time. But it's the same thing with the outskirts. You're not going to get boosts, you're not going to get prime times, but the rides are usually longer. So from the airport out, the rides are almost always longer because somebody's going home. Same thing when you go on the outskirts. If you go to, in my case, in Washington State, Renton, you're going to be going to a lot of different places. And they're not going to be in Renton for the most part. Another key for outskirt driving is do it very early in the morning. And when I say early, I'm talking about 5 o'clock in the morning. Because you're going to get that Seattle ride. It's really nice. Same thing with other cities too. So for example, if the person works in North Side Chicago, well, I'm not going to say drive in Chicago Heights because that's dangerous. But that's what I'm familiar with. So you're going to basically be hitting those little outskirts for somebody that needs to go into Chicago. And the people that are going to be going in, they're not going to be most of the office people that you run into. Those are going to be airport to main city. The people that you're going to run into on the outskirts are going to be people that they work at the airport, or they work at a hotel, or something to that nature, and it's either too early to catch a bus, or they don't want to catch a bus. I mean, that's what you're going to be running into. Today, one of my longer rides was young lady named Alana, and she works at a business that's attached to the airport, kind of. And I've driven her a few times. She's cool. From the Ivory Coast. And she goes at 4 o'clock every single day to work. I've gotten to know this about her, but she's one of the afternoon workers. That's kind of the exception. Usually, if they're going to work in the evening, they're going to be leaving at around 5 to 6 o'clock. But you can start as early as 4. I always do. I turn my things off on at 4. But usually in the morning, it's going to be around 5 o'clock that you want to start, and work until about 10 o'clock. So 5 to 10, take a little nap, and then catch the rest of your day. Does the schedule suck? Yes. But can you make killer money? Absolutely. You're catching some serious prime times and some boosts. Not so many boosts, but a lot of prime times. So that's kind of the technique behind outskirts, well, what I call outskirting. But I'm going to cover a lot more techniques in the not too distant future. Right now, I've been driving for a long time today, and I'm hungry and I'm tired, so I will catch you guys next time.